Jimmy Thesiger, a friendly young man, was running down the stairs very fast at a place called Chimneys. He was going so quickly that he bumped into Treadwell, the serious butler. Treadwell was carrying hot coffee across the hall, but Treadwell was very quick and smart, so he didn't drop anything, and no one got hurt. "Sorry," said Jimmy. "Treadwell, am I the last one to come down for breakfast?" "No, sir. Mr. Wade is not here yet," said Treadwell. "Good," said Jimmy, and he went into the breakfast room. Only his hostess, Lady Coote, was there. She looked at him in a way that made him feel uncomfortable, like a dead fish on a market stand. Jimmy wondered why she was looking at him like that. He knew it was not polite to be on time for breakfast at a country house. It was 11:15, which was quite late, but still. "I'm a little late, Lady Coote, right?" he said. "Oh, it's fine," she said sadly. Being late for breakfast worried Lady Coote a lot. For the first 10 years of her marriage, her husband, Sir Oswald Coote, got very angry if his breakfast was even a half-minute late. So Lady Coote learned that being on time was very important. It was a bad habit for her to change. She was a serious woman, and she wondered how these young people could ever be successful if they didn't wake up early. Her husband, Sir Oswald, often told people, "I am successful because I wake up early, eat simple food, and have good habits." Lady Coote was a large, good-looking woman who always looked sad. She had big, sad eyes and a deep voice. An artist who needed someone to pose for a painting, called Rachel Mourning for her children, would have been very happy to find Lady Coote. She would also have been great in a play, acting as a wife who was treated badly and walking through the snow. Lady Coote looked like she had a terrible secret sadness, but actually she had no problems in her life. Her only trouble was her husband, Sir Oswald, who became rich and successful very quickly. When she was a young woman, she was happy and lively. She was in love with Oswald Coote, a young man who worked in a bicycle shop next to her father's store. They were very happy living together, first in a few rooms, then in a small house, and then in bigger and bigger houses. They always lived close to the works, which was Sir Oswald's business. Now, Sir Oswald was so successful that he no longer needed to be close to his business. He enjoyed renting the biggest and most beautiful houses all over England. Chimneys was an old and important house. Sir Oswald rented it from the Marquis of Caterham for 2 years. By doing this, Sir Oswald felt that he had reached the highest point of his life's goal. Lady Coote wasn't very happy about living there. She felt lonely. When she was first married, her main way to relax was by talking to her maid. Even when she had 3 maids, talking to them was still the most interesting part of her day. Now, Lady Coote had a lot of servants. Many housemaids, a butler who seemed very important, several big footmen, many kitchen maids, a scary foreign chef who was often moody, and a huge housekeeper who made noises when she walked. Because of all these people, Lady Coote felt very lonely, as if she were alone on a deserted island. She let out a heavy sigh and walked out through the open window. Jimmy was glad she was gone. Feeling more comfortable, he helped himself to more bacon and kidneys. Lady Coote stood sadly on the terrace for a little while. Then she bravely decided to speak to MacDonald, the main gardener. MacDonald was looking at the garden he was in charge of. He was a very important and powerful head gardener. He knew his job was to be in control, and he ruled like a king. Lady Coote walked up to him nervously. "Good morning, MacDonald," she said. "Good morning, my lady," he replied. He spoke the way head gardeners should, in a sad but proud voice, like a king at a funeral. "I was wondering if we could have some of those late grapes for dessert tonight," she asked. "They're not ready to be picked yet," MacDonald replied.
He spoke kindly, but in a strong way. "Oh," said Lady Coote. She got a little braver. "But I was in the greenhouse yesterday, and I tasted one. It seemed very good." MacDonald looked at her, and she blushed. She felt that she had done something very wrong. It was clear that the previous owner, the Marchioness of Caterham, had never done anything so rude as to go into her own greenhouse and take grapes.
"If you had given the order, my lady, a bunch should have been cut and sent to you," said MacDonald in a serious voice. "Oh, thank you," said Lady Coote. "Yes, I'll do that next time. But they're not really ready to be picked yet," he added. "No," Lady Coote said quietly. "No, I guess not. We'd better wait then." MacDonald stayed quiet, not saying anything. Lady Coote got brave again. "I wanted to ask you about the grass behind the rose garden. I was wondering if we could use it for a bowling game. Sir Oswald really likes to play bowls."
Lady Coote wondered, why not? She remembered from her history lessons that Sir Francis Drake, an English hero, was playing bowls when he saw the Spanish fleet. This large group of ships had been sent by Spain's King Philip II, who wanted to invade England. Drake defeated the fleet, a great victory that made him a hero. Because of this story, Lady Coote believed that bowls was a very proper and respectable game. She thought MacDonald couldn't possibly object. However, she didn't realize that a head gardener's main trait is to oppose every idea given to him. "Of course it could be used for that," said MacDonald. He didn't sound happy about it, though. He said it to make Lady Coote feel discouraged, but his real plan was to get her to say more so he could prove her wrong. She continued hopefully, "If we cleaned it up, cut the grass, and, did all that kind of stuff."
"Yes, that's possible," MacDonald said slowly, "but we would have to move William from his work in the lower border." "Oh," Lady Coote said, with doubt in her voice. The words lower border meant nothing to her, but she could tell that MacDonald saw it as an impossible problem. "It would be a pity to do that," MacDonald said. "Oh, yes, it would," Lady Coote agreed quickly, even though she didn't know why it was a problem. MacDonald looked at her very hard. "Of course," he said, "if those are your orders, my lady—" He didn't finish the sentence, but his serious tone was too much for Lady Coote. She gave up immediately. "Oh, no," she said. "I understand, MacDonald. No, William should continue working on the lower border." "That's what I thought myself, my lady," said MacDonald. "Yes," said Lady Coote. "Yes, definitely." "I thought you would agree, my lady," said MacDonald. "Oh, definitely," said Lady Coote again. MacDonald touched his hat and walked away. Lady Coote sighed sadly and watched him go. Jimmy Thesiger, who had eaten a lot of kidneys and bacon, came out onto the terrace next to her. He sighed, but in a very different way. "What a wonderful morning," Jimmy remarked. "Is it?" Lady Coote replied, distracted. "I suppose so. I hadn't even noticed." "Where did everyone else go? Are they boating on the lake?" "I think so. I mean, it's very likely." Lady Coote then turned suddenly and went back inside the house. Treadwell was there, checking the coffee pot. "Oh dear," Lady Coote said. "Hasn't Mr. Wade come down yet?" "No, my lady." "He's very late." "Yes, my lady." "Oh dear. He will come down eventually, won't he, Treadwell?" "Oh yes, my lady. Yesterday Mr. Wade came down at 11:30. Lady Coote looked at the clock. It was almost noon. She suddenly felt bad for Treadwell. "This is very hard for you, Treadwell," she said. "You have to clean everything up and then get lunch ready by 1 o'clock." "I am used to how young gentlemen behave, my lady," he replied. Treadwell's words were respectful, but they were also a clear correction. He sounded like a very important person politely correcting someone who had made a mistake without knowing it. Lady Coote's face turned red for the second time that day. Then, luckily, the door opened and a serious young man with glasses looked into the room. This was a welcome break. "Oh, there you are, Lady Coote. Sir Oswald was asking for you," Mr. Bateman said.
"I'll go to him immediately, Mr. Bateman," Lady Coote said as she rushed out. Rupert Bateman, Sir Oswald's private secretary, went out through an open window instead of using the door. This shows a very informal way of leaving a room. As he exited, he walked past Jimmy Thesiger, who was still relaxing outside. "Good morning, Pongo," said Jimmy. "I guess I have to go and be nice to those annoying girls. Are you coming?" Bateman shook his head and quickly walked along the terrace, going in through the library window. Jimmy smiled at him as he left. Jimmy and Bateman were in school together, where Bateman was a serious boy with glasses and was called Pongo for no clear reason. Jimmy thought that Pongo was still the same kind of fool he was in school. The words, "life is real, life is serious," seemed to have been written just for him. Jimmy yawned and walked slowly down to the lake. 3 girls were there. They were their usual kind of girls. 2 had short dark hair, and 1 had short fair hair. The one who giggled the most was probably named Helen. Another was called Nancy, and the third was, for some reason, called Socks. His 2 friends, Bill Eversley and Ronnie Devereaux, were with them. They worked at the Foreign Office just to look good.
"Hello, Jimmy," said Nancy, or Helen. "Where's the other guy?" "Are you serious?" said Bill Eversley. "Jerry Wade isn't awake yet? Someone needs to fix that." "He's going to miss breakfast one of these days," said Ronnie Devereaux. "He'll come down and it will be time for lunch or tea instead." "It's awful," said the girl called Socks, "because it makes Lady Coote so worried. She looks like a hen trying to lay an egg. It's just not right." "Let's pull him out of bed," Bill suggested. "Come on, Jimmy." "Let's be more clever than that," said the girl named Socks. She really liked the word clever and used it a lot. "I'm not good at being clever," Jimmy said. "I don't know how." "Let's all plan to do something about it tomorrow morning," Ronnie suggested, not sounding very serious. "We'll get him up at 7. It'll surprise everyone. Treadwell will be so shocked he'll drop the coffee. Lady Coote will have a fit and faint, and Bill can catch her because he's strong. Sir Oswald will be so happy he'll say, 'Ha!' and his business will make more money. Pongo will get so emotional that he'll throw his glasses on the ground and step on them." "You don't know Jerry," Jimmy said. "Maybe enough cold water would wake him up if you used it carefully, but he would just turn over and go back to sleep."
"Oh, we must think of something more clever than cold water," said Socks. "Well, what?" Ronnie asked directly. No one had an answer. "We should be able to think of something," said Bill. "Who has any brains?" "Pongo does," said Jimmy, "and here he comes, rushing as usual." Pongo always had the brains. It's been his bad luck since he was young. Let's ask Pongo to think of a plan. Mr. Bateman listened to their jumbled story patiently. He looked like he wanted to fly away. He quickly gave them his answer. "I would suggest an alarm clock," he said. "I use one myself, so I don't oversleep. I've found that having early tea brought in quietly doesn't always wake you up." Then he hurried off. "Just one alarm clock? No way," Ronnie said, shaking his head. "It would take at least 12 to wake Jerry Wade up." "So why don't we do it?" Bill said, getting excited. "I've got it. Let's all drive to Market Basing and buy an alarm clock for ourselves." Everyone laughed and discussed the idea. Bill and Ronnie went to find the cars. They asked Jimmy to check on the dining room. He came back quickly. "He's here all right," Jimmy said. "He's eating toast and marmalade like he's starving. How are we going to keep him from coming with us?" They decided that Lady Coote must be told to keep him busy. Jimmy, Nancy, and Helen were given this job. Lady Coote was confused and worried. "A prank? You will be careful, won't you, my dears? I mean, you won't break the furniture or use too much water. We have to give this house back next week, you know. I wouldn't want Lord Caterham to think—" Bill, who had just come back from the garage, quickly stopped her worries. "Don't worry, Lady Coote," Bill said. "Bundle Brent, Lord Caterham's daughter, is a close friend of mine. And there's nothing she's afraid to do. Nothing. So you can trust me. Besides, we're not going to break anything. This will be a very gentle prank." "It's clever," said the girl named Socks. Lady Coot sadly walked along the terrace just as Gerald Wade came out. Jimmy Thesiger was a fair-haired, innocent-looking young man. Gerald Wade was even more so, but his empty expression made Jimmy look very intelligent next to him. "Morning, Lady Coot," Gerald Wade said. "Where is everybody?" "They've all gone to market Basing," she replied. "Why?" "For some joke," Lady Coot said in her sad, deep voice. "Jokes are a bit early in the morning," Mr. Wade said. "It's not so early," Lady Coot replied directly, looking at him.
"I guess I'm a bit late," Mr. Wade said openly. "It's funny, but no matter whose house I'm at, I'm always the last one to come down for breakfast." "That is very strange," said Lady Coot. "I don't know why it happens," Mr. Wade said, thinking. "I can't figure it out." "Why don't you just get up?" Lady Coot asked. "Oh," said Mr. Wade. He was surprised by how simple her idea was. Lady Coot continued seriously. "I've heard Sir Oswald say many times that being on time is the best way for a young man to succeed in life." "Oh, I know," said Mr. Wade, "and I have to be on time when I'm in the city. I have to be at the Foreign Office by 11 o'clock. You shouldn't think I'm always lazy, Lady Coot. By the way, those flowers in that lower border are very nice. I can't remember their names, but we have some at home, those purple ones. My sister is very interested in gardening." Lady Coot was immediately distracted. Her feelings of being wronged were strong. "What kind of gardeners do you have?" she asked. "Oh, just one. I think he's a bit of an old fool. He doesn't know much, but he does what he's told, and that's a very good thing, isn't it?" Lady Coot agreed with deep emotion in her voice, as if she were a great actress. They began to talk about how bad gardeners could be.
Meanwhile, the group's plan was going well. They went to the main store in Market Basing, and the owner was very confused by the sudden request for alarm clocks. "I wish Bundle were here," Bill said quietly. "You know her, don't you, Jimmy? You'd really like her. She's a great girl, a true good sport. And she's smart, too. Do you know her, Ronnie?" Ronnie shook his head no. "You don't know Bundle? Where have you been living? She's the best." "Be a little more clever, Bill," said Socks. "Stop talking about your girlfriends and let's get on with the plan." Mr. Murgatroyd, the store owner, became very talkative. "Miss, if you let me give you some advice, I would say not to get the 7-Eleven one. It's a good clock, but I really suggest this kind for 10-6. It's worth the extra money. It's reliable, you see. I would hate for you to come back and say—" It was clear to everyone that they had to stop him from talking. "We don't want a reliable clock," Nancy said. "It just needs to work for one day," Helen added. "We don't want a quiet one," Socks said. "We want a really loud one." Bill was about to say something, but he stopped. Jimmy, who liked machines, had finally figured out how to make the clocks work. For the next 5 minutes, the shop was filled with the terrible loud noise of many alarm clocks ringing all at once. They finally picked out 6 good ones. "You know what?" Ronnie said generously. "I'll buy one for Pongo. It was his idea, and it's a shame he's not here. He should be a part of this." "Good idea," Bill said, "and I'll buy an extra one for Lady Coot. The more clocks, the better. She's helping us out. She's probably chatting with old Jerry as we speak." Just then, Lady Coot was telling a long story about MacDonald and a special peach. She was enjoying herself very much. The clocks were wrapped up and paid for. Mr. Murgatroyd watched the cars leave and looked confused. Young people from the upper class are very full of life these days, very lively indeed, but not easy to understand. He was happy to go help the vicar's wife, who wanted a new kind of teapot that wouldn't drip.
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.